There were evenings when Padre Pio would pause at the edge of his small cell and listen to the silence settle over the monastery. He said that a hidden battle begins the moment a soul prepares to sleep. He hinted that something sacred draws near when a person ends the day with even a single sincere prayer. He never explained everything because he believed some truths must be approached slowly with awe. Yet he once revealed that a night prayer does far more than soothe the mind. It awakens a presence that stands guard over the heart. And he saw what happens in the unseen world when someone whispers a final prayer before drifting into rest. Padre Pio often warned his spiritual children that the hours before sleep are never empty. He said the human heart softens at night and becomes more open to whatever it receives. If the soul ends the day wounded or distracted, it carries that unrest into the deeper silence where thoughts settle and memories rise. He knew that this vulnerable moment shapes the next morning more than people realize. He taught that a night without prayer leaves the soul unanchored and easily troubled. Yet he also spoke of a quiet hope that enters when the final words of the day are turned toward God. He believed prayer before sleep invites a tenderness that protects the mind from despair. It strengthens the soul against hidden fears that surface in the dark. It prepares a person to awaken with clarity and peace. Padre Pio once said that a single heartfelt prayer before rest can redirect the entire inner world. It can guard the heart from confusion. It can steady the conscience, and it can open the night to a grace that follows the soul until dawn. Padre Pio once told a visitor that he did not simply recommend praying before sleep. He urged it because he had witnessed what unfolds when a soul neglects this final moment with God. He hinted that the absence of prayer leaves a quiet space that other influences quickly fill. He never dramatized this. He spoke gently. Yet his words carried a weight that made people tremble. He said the night is a threshold where shadows try to speak to the heart that has not lifted itself in trust. But then he revealed something far deeper. He described how the smallest prayer before bed can draw the gaze of Christ toward the soul in a very intimate way. He spoke of it almost as if a soft light begins to surround the person. Not a vision, not a miracle. Simply a grace he perceived with his spiritual sensitivity. A grace that comforts the mind and anchors the conscience. He shared an encounter with a young man who could not sleep because of fear and turmoil. When Padre Pio prayed with him and taught him a simple night prayer, the man returned, days later transformed. He felt protected. He felt accompanied. Padre Pio explained that this was not the result of his own holiness, but the natural fruit of a soul that ends the day by turning toward God. He hinted that angels draw close when someone prays before sleep. He never described them. He never embellished. He only said that peace enters through doors opened gently by prayer. And he warned that without this moment of surrender, the night can magnify wounds that would otherwise heal under grace. Padre Pio often described the night as a quiet teacher. He believed that the darkness of evening reveals the truth of a person's interior life. When the world grows silent, the heart can no longer hide from its own thoughts. He said many souls feel uneasy before sleep because they suddenly face everything they ignored during the day. The hurried conversations, the moments of impatience, the wounds carried too long, the fears pushed aside. The conscience awakens when the lights dim and the noise settles. He knew that this can be a painful experience. He saw people come to him exhausted, not from work, but from the weight of thoughts that visited them in the night. He would tell them that prayer before rest does not erase these struggles. It simply invites God into them. It allows divine light to touch the hidden corners of the soul so that nothing lies alone in the dark. Padre Pio believed that this gentle offering moves the heart toward healing. There was a woman who visited him often because she could not sleep without anxiety gripping her chest. Her nights were filled with memories that resurfaced like waves she could not calm. Padre Pio listened to her without judgment. He asked her to begin each night with a short examination of conscience and a single prayer. He told her to whisper it slowly. He told her to let the words open her heart rather than strain it. After a month, she returned with tears of relief. She was not free from all suffering, but she no longer felt alone in it. She sensed a presence surrounding her as she fell asleep. Padre Pio nodded quietly. He knew this grace well. He warned that the heart that does not pray before sleeping may drift into a deeper unrest. Restlessness grows in the absence of surrender. Thoughts become stronger when they are not guided toward hope. He believed that the enemy of the soul seeks these vulnerable moments when a person lies down without anchoring themselves in prayer. Yet, he never used fear to teach. He always brought people back to the gentle truth that prayer invites protection. It draws light into the darkness. Padre Pio spoke of night prayer as a doorway through which divine peace enters the interior world. He explained that God's grace at bedtime does not arrive as thunder or revelation. It comes as stillness. It comes as reassurance. It comes as a quiet presence that strengthens the soul even in sleep. He once compared this grace to a lamp placed near the bed of a child. The darkness still exists around the room, but the light changes its meaning. It no longer threatens. It no longer overwhelms. It simply becomes part of the space illuminated by love. He believed that every soul has the ability to welcome this peace. No complex prayer is required, no extraordinary devotion, only a sincere turning of the heart toward God before closing the eyes. Padre Pio said that heaven notices this small act. He taught that angels are attentive to it. He insisted that God pours consolation through it. And he encouraged every person to let the night become a moment of encounter rather than fear. Padre Pio once offered a reflection that left those around him silent for a long time. He said that on several occasions he was allowed to sense what happens in the spiritual realm when someone kneels or even sits quietly on their bed and offers a final prayer to God. He did not describe visions. He did not recount miracles. He spoke only of a movement of grace that his soul could perceive in moments of deep prayer. He explained that when a person prays before sleep, something rises from the heart like a gentle flame. It is small yet steady. It lifts itself toward the presence of God and invites divine attention to the soul. He said that God never ignores this flame, even if the prayer is weak or tired or clumsy, even if the words do not come easily, even if the mind wanders. The offering itself draws grace like a thirsty ground receives rain. He explained that this grace does not simply surround the person. It enters the night with them. It moves through their thoughts. It protects their rest. It softens their memories. He once said that if people understood what God does with a single sincere night prayer, they would never again fall asleep without offering one. He spoke of a young novice who struggled with despair. The novice felt unworthy of God's attention and believed prayer would not change anything. Padre Pio guided him gently. He told him to pray one simple line every night before sleep. The novice obeyed, though he doubted its value. Weeks later, he returned transformed. His despair had lifted. His thoughts had calmed. He felt a peace he had not known for years. Padre Pio explained that the prayer had opened a channel for grace. The young man had not changed himself. God had touched him in the silence of the night. Then Padre Pio shared the truth that astonished many. He said that when a person prays before rest, angels are drawn to them. He did not give details. He never painted pictures, but he spoke with conviction that the angels guard the one who prays. They protect the soul from discouragement. They stand near when the mind drifts into vulnerability. They shield the heart from temptations that grow stronger in exhaustion. He believed this angelic closeness was not extraordinary. It was simply God's response to a humble request for protection. He once said that a night prayer forms a crown around the soul. A crown not made of visions or mystical lights. A crown woven of trust. The soul that ends the day with a prayer becomes less exposed to spiritual confusion. It becomes less fearful. It becomes less shaken by the disturbances that linger from the day. Padre Pio insisted that this crown is not felt immediately, but over time it reshapes the entire interior landscape. It strengthens virtue. It sharpens conscience. It prepares the soul to receive God in surprising ways. He delivered this teaching with a solemn tenderness. He wanted people to know that night prayer is not a small act. He saw what surrounds the praying soul. He knew what God does in the hidden hours. He understood the quiet battle that unfolds between peace and turmoil when the lights go out. and he believed that prayer invites peace to triumph without noise or spectacle. It covers the sleeping soul in a grace that lingers long after the final word has been whispered. Padre Pio often ended his guidance with a gentleness that settled softly into the soul. He reminded people that God does not ask for perfection in prayer. He asks for presence. He asks for sincerity. He asks for a heart willing to turn toward him even when the day has been heavy or confusing. Padre Pio believed that the moments before sleep are among the most sacred invitations a person receives. The body grows tired. The mind begins to loosen its grip on the day. The soul becomes quiet and transparent. In that quiet, God draws near. He taught that prayer before sleep is an act of surrender. It is a way of placing the entire day into God's hands and trusting that He will hold what we cannot carry. It invites healing where wounds still ache. It offers forgiveness where mistakes still linger. It restores peace where fear tries to take root. Padre Pio said that a soul who prays at night is never alone in the darkness. Grace moves toward them. Angels stand near. God watches with tenderness. He urged people to make this prayer simple, a thanksgiving, an act of contrition, a request for protection, a whisper of love. Nothing elaborate, nothing forced, just a final moment of truth before sleep. When practiced faithfully, this small act shapes the rhythm of the heart. It prepares the soul to awaken with clarity. It anchors the mind in peace. It strengthens the journey toward holiness one night at a time. Padre Pio believed that night prayer opens the window through which God enters the silence, and he invited every soul to open that window gently each evening and allow grace to settle over their rest.